our first for loop code. We start with a list called fruits containing 3 strings: kiwi, mango, and orange. We use a for loop to iterate over each item in the fruits list. In Python, the for loop iterates over the elements of an iterable. In each iteration, the variable item takes on the value of the current element in the fruit list. So inside the loop, we print the value of the item. The loop continues until all items in the fruits list have been processed. So let's check with the output. Here we get the output. So this code looks through each fruit in the fruits list and prints each fruit name on a separate line. It is a simple and common way to iterate over a list and perform some action with each item. Then we'll move on to the next code. Here is the string iteration. The code uses a for loop to iterate over each character in the string happy coding. In Python, you can directly iterate over a string, treating it as a sequence of characters. Here, loop variable in each iteration of the loop, the variable letter takes on the value of the current character in the string. This variable can be named anything here. Here, it is named letter for clarity, but you could name it char or any other name you prefer. Printing characters. Inside the loop, the printf function is used to print each character to the console. This means that each character of the string will be printed on a separate line due to the default behavior of the printf function, which adds a new line after each call. The loop continues until all characters in the string have been processed. Once every character has been iterated over, the loop terminates. So let's check with the output. So when we run this code, it will output each character of the string happy coding on a separate line due to the printf function's default behavior of adding a new line after each cell. Here is the code for range function. The range function in Python generates a sequence of numbers. So here, range 5 generates a sequence of numbers from 0 to 4. The range function is exclusive on the upper bound, so it stops one step before the specified number. In each iteration of the loop, the variable x takes on the value of the current number in the sequence generated by range 5. Print of x. Inside the loop, the printf function is used to print the value of x to the console. So the loop continues until all numbers in the sequence generated by the range 5 have been processed. Since range 5 generates number from 0 to 4, the loop will execute 5 times with x taking the values 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 in each iteration. So when we run this code, it will output the numbers 0 to 4, each on a separate line. This loop is commonly used when you need to iterate a specific number of times, such as when you want to perform an operation a certain number of times or access the elements of a list by index. Next, we have a code for if-else statement within a for loop in Python. This code demonstrates how to use an if-else statement within a for loop to perform different actions based on a condition for each element in a list. Numbers equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we start by defining a list called numbers containing integers from 1 to 5. And then for numbers. The for loop iterates over each element in the numbers list. In each iteration, the variable num takes on the value of the current element. Inside the loop, there is an if-else statement which is if num mod 2 equals 0. If the current number is divisible by 2, the condition num modulus 2 equals 0 evaluates to true. Then the if block is executed and it prints a message indicating that the number is even. If the condition num mod 2 equals 0 evaluates to false, the else block will be executed and it prints the message indicating that the number is odd. Inside both the if and else block, the printf function is used to print a message indicating whether the current number is even or odd. Here, f of number is even and f of number is odd. These strings use f of strings to embed the value of the current number in the output message. So when we run this code, it will output messages indicating whether each number in the number list is even or odd. Here we see how nested for loop works in Python. This code demonstrates how to use nested for loops to iterate over combinations of elements from two or more lists. Colors equal red, green, shapes equal circle, square. We start by defining two lists, colors and shapes. The color list contains the strings red and green, while the shapes list contains the strings circle and square. The outer loop iterates over each element in the colors list. In each iteration, the variable color takes on the value of the current color. Inside the outer loop, there is another for loop that iterates over each element in the shapes list. In each iteration of the inner loop, the variable shape takes on the value of the current shape. Inside the inner loop, the printf function is used to print a combination of color and shape. The f of color shape strings uses f strings to embed the values of the current color and shape variables in the output message. This results in printing all possible combinations of colors and shapes. So the nested loops continue until all combinations of colors and shapes have been printed. Each combination is printed once for every color in the colors list. So when we run this code, it will output all possible combinations of colors and shapes. This is how nested for loop works in Python. Here we come for our final code in the for loop. Sum of numbers from 1 to 100. Total is equal 0. The variable total is initialized to 0. This variable will be used to accumulate the sum of numbers from 1 to 100. The code uses a for loop to iterate over a range of numbers from 1 to 100. The range 1 to 101 function generates a sequence of numbers from 1 to 100. The loop variable I takes on each of these values in return. Inside the loop, the current value of I is added to the total variable using the plus equal operator. This operation accumulates the sum of numbers as the loop progresses. So here total plus equal I equivalent to total is equal I plus total. Print of the sum of numbers from 1 to 100 is total. After the loop finishes, the code prints out the final sum of numbers from 1 to 100. So here the message, the sum of numbers from 1 to 100 is followed by the value of the total variable which holds the sum of numbers. So the loop continues until all the numbers from 1 to 100 have been processed. Since the range 1 to 101 function generates numbers from 1 to 100, the loop executes 100 times. So when we run this code, here we get the output of the sum of numbers from 1 to 100, 5050. I hope you all understand how Python for loop works in list, string, range of function, and so on. I'll see you all in the next Python video. Happy coding, kids!